Hi, I'm Megan.
And I am the future Mr. Megan.
And this is Crossthreaded. On this month's episode, we deal with a problem in automotive enthusiasm.
Yes. And this time we're not merely making fun of Jeremy Clarkson. No. We're talking about the misconception that daily driving a car is fun. It's not. It sucks.
Yeah, people think daily driving can be fun, so they get sporty daily drivers. But it's like having a cheetah for a house cat.
Yeah, too much. Now, we can't wait for driverless cars. It's going to be like having a robot to help control your house cheetah.
We're going to prove all of this to you with a simple demonstration. Jim is going to simulate driving to work by doing his Frank Sinatra impression.
I get to do Frank Sinatra?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to help simulate the experience of driving by playing the part of stoplights and so forth. You ready?
I'll do it my way.
And I will take that as a yes. Go.
The summer wind came
Stop.
blowing. What do you mean stop?
It's a stoplight.
Nobody else is singing.
It doesn't matter. It's a stoplight. You have to stop. Okay, go.
From across the sea, it lingered there.
Slower.
What?
You have to sing slower. It's a speed limit.
Fascist.
What?
All summer long, we sang a song.
Okay, you're done.
I want to sing.
But you're at work now. You have to go in.
Great. Now I get to be at work.
See, that's everyday driving. It's boring, and when it's not boring, someone's always telling you to slow down or stop.
Yeah. This is why you should never buy a sporty daily driver. You never get to enjoy it, and if you do, it'll bite you. I will bite you.
Instead, get a cheap daily driver and build a kit car for sanctioned performance driving.
Yeah. So, let's build our kit car.
Don't you want to finish your song?
You know, I really do, but I'm worried that if I'll start singing and Bo will cut me off, he'll just play the intro right over me and make me look like an idiot.
I'll tell him not to do that.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy yourself.
Two sweethearts in the summer wind.
I didn't know he could edit the pitch like that.
Well, I guess you can. Well, anyway, today we begin with forming some brake lines and then a little bit of metal fabrication.
Making a racket and then making a bracket.
Exactly. And let's begin with me doing something wrong.
The brakes work by receiving hydraulic pressure from the master cylinder, which you can see Jim incorrectly hooking a line up to here.
Yeah, that's not where that's supposed to go, but it's since been moved and, homemade car code.
Remember those holes we drilled before we ever mounted the chassis to the subframes? We're going to use those at last, but first, the bracket.
Now the problem is that this magical brake juice distribution block on the rear subframe doesn't play nice with the Exocet.
Here you can see us forming the conifer brake line to fit on the block using the crappy bending tool and then hands.
It ends up fitting nicely and screws into the block without binding up, but the line protrudes past where an aluminum bulkhead will eventually be. All we have to do is make a bracket to relocate it.
We'll start by making a template out of poster board.
These scissors are named Citizen Snips.
I don't get that reference.
No one will, honey.
Huh. Well, after we shape the template to our liking, we mark it out on a piece of metal, then cut it out. Grind out all of the pokey bits. and compare it to our template.
Not teabag, boys.
Here he goes, speaking AVE again.
I am not speaking AVE. Now, since we don't have a sheet metal brake, I'm going to have to use our vise to bend this bracket.
It might take us a few whacks with a grand marteau as well. Oh great, now I'm speaking AVE.
Jesus.
As you can see, it took a few extra bends to get the bracket perfect, and then we sprayed it to help keep the rust at bay.
Now that the conifer brake line is attached front and rear, we need to secure it underneath the length of the car.
We need to attach the fuel line at the same time, and we don't want either one to snag on anything when we're going down the road. That would be bad.
It sure would. So we're going to use some nylon spacers and 2 different sizes of P-clip to mount both lines using the same holes.
When we drilled the holes, we thought we were going to be using rivets, but since then we've learned about the magic of riv nuts, also called nutserts.
Since we got this kit, we use it everywhere. Unfortunately, in our current application, there isn't room to use the installation tool to whole-ass the job, so I'll use a bolt with a couple of nuts on it to half-ass the riv nuts into place.
First we make the holes bigger, then shoot a little spray paint in to help seal the raw steel. Then we'll try setting the riv nut.
It was a pain in the ass to do it this way, but far less of one than trying to use old school rivets.
Since we don't want these bolts to come wiggling out, we dabbed on some blue thread locker to mitigate that.
Here are the dimensions of the nylon spacer. We bought ours at the Home Depot.
And here's how they end up looking when they're done.
Now, one of our favorite things about the Exocet is that since it uses the Miata as a donor, we get to reuse performance stuff that we had on our old car on the Exocet.
Yeah, like our nice stainless header, which didn't clear the steering shaft.
Yeah, and the rest of the exhaust, which is too long.
No worky. So we sold off our stainless midpipe and muffler, and we'll cobble something together out of stock stuff.
Yeah, and the plan is to cobble something together because we don't want to spend money on a nice new exhaust until we're done spending money on horsepower.
Which is probably never.
That's my girl.
In the meantime, we decided to try making some floor mats out of a cheapo Amazon yoga mat.
Now we have a place to put our feet. All we need is a place to store our butts.
And there is no better place to put your butt than a butt holder.
It's true. So it is time once again to apply our nearly non-existent metal fabrication skills to mount our driver's seat into the car.
The slider we'll be using is a bride rail that has been floating around the parts bucket for years. It'll be nice to finally put that to use.
Yeah. I do love it when something that I've been hanging on to for a long time gets some use.
Are we still talking about seat rails? Here we test the fit of the seat using our laser eyeball. This is an Ultra Shield Rally Sport seat.
We made a couple of steel brackets to hold the front part of the seat side mount style. We did that rather than bolting through the bottom so that we don't have to sit on pokey screws.
The bolts in the rear will go through the bottom, but the seat has a lot more padding there, so it should be okay.
I tested it out and it didn't bother me, but if it becomes a problem later, we can use shorter bolts or grind the ones we have into submission.
It might not seem like enough hardware to hold the seat in a crash situation, but that's really more the harness's job than the seat's.
Yeah, and we're not done adding safety stuff. Or stuff of questionable safety for that matter. We are getting pretty close to being able to fire this thing up.
Actually, we're getting pretty close to having to work on the wiring, which we're dreading.
Yeah, that's more true. But one thing that we definitely need is an emergency brake so that we can do handbrake skids to impress our homeowners association.
Yes, but first, we want to say a quick thanks to our patrons, as well as some fellow internet folks and YouTubers who have helped us out.
Yes. You know, people like Paps Boys Roadhouse, Tom of Tom's Turbo Garage, the Bad Obsession Motorsports guys, Eric the Car Guy, Blairsville Cruisers, and the Exocet Owners Group, and of course our weirdo crap can racing friends, the 24 Hours of Lemons crew. We really appreciate it, y'all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And you as well, viewer, thank you for watching. We would love to have you as a subscriber, and we would love it even more if we could have your support on Patreon.
Yeah. If you agree that car shows should be less beholden to manufacturers' interests and more beholden to Frank Sinatra jokes, just get on board with us.
Yes, and now on to the parking brake.
Yeah. So because I have such long, graceful legs, we decided to mount the parking brake a little further back than it would be in the Miata.
That seemed like a very smart idea until we realized it meant the parking brake cable would be way too long.
By that time, I'd already drilled the holes in the trans tunnel and put in the riv nuts, but I figured I could probably just shorten the cable.
Well, yeah, that turned into a bit of a fiasco. But at least you get to see us use the riv nut tool this time.
I kinda blew it on properly marking the holes, so I had to do a little filing on the parking brake assembly to make it work.
The cable end had a slightly bigger outside diameter than the hole's inside diameter, so a little sanding was required.
Once the cables were in, I measured how much I needed taken out of the connecting cable. It looked like about 4 inches.
So we cut the cable, and then used some aluminum clamps to firm it up.
There is no video of what happened next because it is such an ugly hack that I'm embarrassed to show it to you.
Oh no. What did you do?
Well, let's just say that I tried to add some strength to the clamps by brazing them, and the results were horrific. But in my defense, the house did not burn down at all.
Well, that is a plus. How bad does it look?
We will never know because I hid my shame with about a pound of electrical tape.
Oh, Jim, even electricians don't use that stuff.
That's true, that's true. But in my defense, again, the parking brake does work now, but I am on the lookout for a better solution.
Now, in retrospect, it would have been better to mount the handle at the right distance from the cables.
Yep, that's totally true. Mistakes were made, and hindsight is a frog's butt when he jumps, or whatever that saying is. Well, anyway, thanks again for watching. Have a look at our website to find our Instabook and TweetFace accounts, plus some cross-threaded swag, t-shirts and stickers and stuff.
We also do automotive journalism and some other how-tos, which you can find on our channel. We're doing 4 more episodes like this of our car build, released on the first Tuesday of each month.
Mm-hmm. So this one is June of 2016. We'll do July, August, September, and October, and then we're taking 2 months off to do marriage, honeymoon, and enjoy the holidays.
The last video should be us driving the car.
Yeah, but It might also be us sitting near the car and going, ow, same time screech. Nice. Simultaneous screeching.